Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a live recording with a special guest on our podcast today. And I'm super excited for you to hear her story and just hear all kinds of tips and tricks that she has for us because we haven't had a guest on talking about this specific thing. So, Rubeena, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us all about you, how you got to what you're doing right now, and all the things.
Yeah, hello. My name is Rubeena, and I help Etsy sellers and small product business owners take better product photos so that they can increase their sales and their shop revenue. So that's basically what I do. And yeah, right now I have my main platform is my Facebook group, which is called Product Photography for Etsy Sellers. So that's where I am most of the time. So that's what I do, and I live in the UK. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us so late because I know that it's 6 o'clock, just so everyone knows, it's 6 o'clock in the evening, my time. So it's probably 11 o'clock ish your time, UK. So I appreciate you staying up this late. If you're like me, I go to bed pretty early. But anyway, okay. So photography, love it. Also, Etsy, because we have a lot of people who listen to the show who like to create their own sort of thing. And I think the photography element and how to take those really good pictures is so huge because I know just like with anything with social, right? If the pictures are poor quality or don't catch our eye, we just kind of keep scrolling. So how did you get started with the photography, but also specifically using Etsy to do that?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Lindsay, for inviting me on your show. Appreciate that. And it's my first ever podcast interview, so it's special.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So about me and photography, I started doing photography as a serious hobby for about 15 years now. So I started as a hobby, as anybody does, and so I mostly taught myself because when I started, there was no YouTube videos or anything to go by. So it was mostly trial and error, and I started with the usual, random things, flowers, landscapes, and all that. So that's what I did in the beginning, and then I do a lot of travels. So I am a travel freak, and so is my husband. So we do go to a lot of places. So I got into travel photography and landscapes. So mostly like going early in the morning to catch the sunrise and that kind of stuff. So then, so that was always my, a hobby. I mean, I never thought I would do, anything with photography as, as a business. Okay. So I'm by profession, I'm Java developer. I used to work in IT industry, so I quit a couple of years back. But all my life I have done that, like doing computer programming. So this was always on the side. And when I had my children, that's when I actually started thinking of doing something else. So my childhood dream was to be an artist. So my first thing was like, okay, now I had my first child, like it was 7 years back. Okay, so I was like, we get 1 year maternity leave in the UK. So I was like, it was my first pregnancy, so I had no idea what it's going to be, what my life was going to be with a child. So I thought, I have 1 year and it's a lot of time. I can do a lot of stuff. And so I started thinking about other things. And so obviously I moved to arts and I tried painting and all those things. And uh, very fast I found out it is more work than fun. So I was like, oh, this is a lot of work. So I kind of tried a lot of different things. And I did calligraphy for some time. I learned calligraphy and I'm totally into it. So I started Instagram and all that, and I stayed there for some time. So then am like a major shiny object syndrome kind of person. So I find something new, I jump into that. So I started so many different things, but again, it was not like a business kind of thing. And one of that was an Etsy shop. So it was just for fun. I saw I was actually thinking about starting an Amazon shop, but then I thought it was a lot of hassle. So let's try something easy. So that's how I started an Etsy shop. And even though I didn't stay there as usual, I just started it. I Once I figure out how things work, I lose interest in that and I move on to the next one. So, but anyway, I found Etsy very interesting uh, because most of the people on Etsy are women for one thing, and they're all like very small businesses like crafts, and so most of the people do like it's a one person business where they do everything. And so I found it very interesting because I am totally into women's empowerment and that kind of stuff. So my overall mission for all my business things is to empower women and help them become financially independent using different online models. So I had never thought of teaching photography, but when I was in Etsy, I still have a shop, but I hardly ever go there. But yeah, sometimes I just go and see how it is. But when I was actively on Etsy, I saw that even though people have really good products, and I can see, it's good. They're good quality, and they put a lot of effort into making all these handmade things, right? But when you see the photographs, it's a total letdown in many cases. So I myself have messaged so many people saying you can do this thing to improve your photos. And I used to message privately on Etsy saying, see, I see your photos and you can do this, and it would be great. So I thought, so that's how I got, I thought maybe I should teach them how to do this because see people, I like it. It's very close to my heart because I see that it's not a normal big commerce shop, right? It's a person doing things on their own in their free time, and they put a lot of effort into it. And in the end, people don't when they see the photos and they're not of good quality, nobody's going to buy it. Like you might get one or two sales from here and there, but unless you have good quality photos, you are losing out on so many sales. So that's where I started with this idea, and I had been thinking about it for so long. And finally, I started in my Facebook group like last December, end of December. So yeah, that's what I have. So I have a few people in my group now, and I do a weekly live like every Tuesday. So
Oh my gosh.
that's
Okay. There there is so much for me to unpack there.
yeah.
Okay. First of all, I love super quick. Do you want to mute? I don't think I can. There we go. We're having some feedback issues, guys. So we're taking turns muting. It's totally fine. We're flexible. We pivot. Which I love how you shared your story because I feel like everyone's journey through building a business is like that. Like, I don't know anyone who had one set idea and they're like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm passionate about. And like, it hasn't had like tweaks and turns along the way. Like, you see a need and you fill it. And it's also something that you're passionate about. You love photography. And so, this is a way to do something that you love, but you also love helping others and empowering others. And I love that you reach out to people also. There's some really influencer that I follow. I forget who now off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure her story was when she got started. She did something with like, it was either websites or email. And so I think it was websites. So she would be on people's websites. And if she saw a need, like, hey, this isn't, your Java is not right here, your pictures aren't right here, something's messy, she would email them and just let them know, just like super nice, like you're doing. And then people started asking, like, what, can you fix it? Like, can you make it better? Like, thank you so much for pointing it out. And it just like naturally evolved into a business. So I just love how I love how you did that. And I got to get you in touch too with my sister because my sister loves travel photography and doing pictures, and you two would get along so well.
Yeah, I think she's in my group, but
Oh,
yeah. So
that's
that's where I think we connected. That's how we
oh,
connected. I think, yeah.
I never remember how we get connected with everyone that we
Yeah,
meet.
it's all on social media. It's all in the end. You always meet somebody, right? In the
Yeah,
end.
so crazy. Um, so you use a Facebook group now to educate and to teach people. What are some things that you have found with building your Facebook group, either like challenges or something that's been really rewarding for you and growing your business and helping others?
Yeah, regarding Facebook groups, I think it's good platform where you have a community. I mean, it's a community aspect that is that's unique to Facebook group because it's a community of people who have the same interest, right? It's not any random person who can join like Instagram. You start an Instagram page, anybody can join, and then there'll be a random group of people who are not even interested in what you're doing. So there's no point. So in Facebook group, you can have targeted people, and it's private, right? So you can ask them questions to limit who comes in, and so that makes it a bit more targeted um, platform. But the downside is the reach of Facebook groups is not great. So that's what I'm finding recently, is that even if I post something, it's only like 10% of people who actually see them, which is really disheartening because you put so much effort into it and people don't even see it. So they're not going to engage. But once you get the engagement, then that's when it starts to grow. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing your trainings on YouTube also? Or maybe you already do?
Yes, I have been thinking about it for some time. So Um, I haven't decided when to start because it needs to be, I need at least some content like to, post it consistently, right? So I'm thinking maybe next month, but, I'm like going back and forth between whether when should I, because, yeah, my next platform at least is YouTube. So I'm planning to do at least a few videos, like basics of how to do photography and stuff. Because when I started thinking about this thing like more than a year ago. So at that time, I searched everywhere on YouTube, on Google, everywhere to see whether somebody is doing this, and I couldn't find anybody. I couldn't find anybody who's doing it specifically to it's. There are a couple of people who are doing it for all kind of businesses like e-commerce and stuff, but I couldn't find anybody who was doing exactly the same. That's when I actually thought, okay, I would do this. But I think right now I keep seeing a few people who are, they're not specific to Etsy, but still they cater to Etsy people. So yeah, there are a few people now, but when I started, I thought there was nobody. So I thought definitely somebody need to uh, teach this because people don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. So there should be somebody to point you in the right direction. So, and it can make a lot of difference because I think photography is, especially product photography, is totally underrated by most e-commerce sellers. They mostly focus on SEO most of the time, even though SEO is important. Um, I think photography is uh, the same, or if not more important than SEO, because I always say SEO can get you in the search results, but a good product photo will get you the sale. So that's the difference.
I
So
100% agree. Yeah. And I love how you already searched and you know that there's a need and you're like, "Yes, I'm gonna fill it." Like, I already looked, people aren't doing this. Like, I'm shocked. Like, yeah, that's a market you definitely definitely get on. Um, you can
yeah,
just
sorry, go on. No, I said I'm big on research. I get lost in my research. That's the downside of it because I know there are some people who, I mean, I'm like, if I want to learn something or I'm into something, I need to learn everything about it.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
spend a lot of time researching things before I do. I'm kind of a perfectionist,
Yes.
but I'm trying to I'm trying to overcome that issue, because it's an issue, because it stops you from doing even this thing that I'm doing. I stop so many times because I'm like, oh, this is not perfect. I mean, I shouldn't do a live because, I need to perfect this thing first, that thing first. So it is never ending, right?
Yeah.
So the best thing is to do the action and then learn from that. Even, I mean, it's it's a thing I tell myself, because I'm bad at it, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone needs to stop this recording, rewind it, and listen to that part again, because that doing messy action, because we're all perfectionists. Like, well, okay, I won't say we're all perfectionists. I definitely know some people who are not perfectionists, and I'm like, you could maybe be a little bit more of a perfectionist than you are. But I'm the same way. And I literally was just having this conversation with Rubeena with a friend of mine yesterday. And I was like, I've been thinking about doing this for like 6 months. And it was this idea I had for my business. And I'm like, if I don't actually pull the trigger and get started with it, and at least start it messy, like I have started other things a little bit messy and perfected it. When I first started podcasting, my first few podcasts, awful. Do not listen to them. Like, no one listen to them. But you get better at it. You get better at talking. You get better at all the things. So yeah, I love that. And what an important thing to show other women too.
Oh, sorry. Mic, unmuting and muting the mic. Sorry. Um,
Fine.
yeah, even about perfectionism, like, yeah, that's one thing that stops people. And the other thing is not knowing what to do. Like, um, many people, like, if I take the example of Etsy, so many people start Etsy shop thinking, they have a lot of ideas and they start it, and they will probably get a couple of sales from friends and family, and then they will see there are no more sales, and
Mm.
uh, 90% of the people, what they would do is like, oh, this is not working, and that's it.
Yep.
They quit at that point. So that is, but I mean, I don't know, I do talk about it in my circles, but if you keep at it consistently for some time, that's when you get the result. And
Yeah.
you need to strategize.
Mhm.
Just don't throw everything and do things that somebody is doing. uh, Find a strategy. If you can do it yourself, do it. Otherwise, find a coach or somebody who can guide you, so that will cut down a lot of time and effort from your
Yeah.
side. So
100%.
yeah, a business would always require investment from your side. So it's either money or your time and effort. And I would always go for saving my time. I mean,
Mm.
that's again an evolving thing. When you start, you would always try to save money, but that, I think that's the wrong kind of way to go for it. Because if you invest money in, say, a course or coaching, something like that, and it cuts down the time you need to get from point A to point B, you save your time, and you can always
Mm.
get your money back, right? You
Yeah.
always get your money back. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Yes, we cannot get our time back.
Yeah.
So I love how you mentioned that about coaching and strategizing. So do you make it a point to regularly work with a coach or do trainings, or what does that look like? What does your professional or personal development, I guess, look like?
Yeah, I started with the personal development around the time when I started my, thinking about businesses and stuff. So yeah, I'm really interested in that kind of stuff, and I do follow a lot of people, and I've done so many courses. I mean, the coaching, I've only had two coaches, and they're in different fields. But I only started doing coaching recently, like last year. And I mean, I've invested in so many courses, like tens of thousands of pounds in courses in so many different. I mean, half of them I haven't finished, and but I do spend a lot of money on that because I think it's important. One thing is strategy, and other thing is mindset, right? So you need both for a business, even for your personal growth. You need both to grow. I mean, growth is the main thing, right? So yeah, and about coaching, I found it very interesting experience when you work with a coach, because you can always get the knowledge, right? The knowledge is everywhere. You Google for it. You want to learn anything, you Google for it, you find YouTube videos for it. There's so many, 1,000 resources for any topic on earth. All right. So you can always get the knowledge, but the gap is in the implementation. So even if you know, see, suppose you are watching my videos and I tell you what to do with photography and all that. But when you do it on your own, there's so many blogs. You think, I mean, there's so many blogs with us, right? You think I'm not good enough, I can't do this, maybe I don't know enough. All those things will come up and you stop. But when you're working with a coach, they will, guide you through all these steps, and they'll push you to action. So you always have somebody at your side, and you get the thing done. So the main thing is the implementation. Knowledge you can always get, but implementation is the key. That's when you move forward. Yeah.
I love how you pointed that out, because that's so right. Because I know I can always tell when I'm working with a coach and when I'm not. Like, same thing. I have so many courses. I rarely finish them. I might get close, but I rarely finish them unless they're really short. But I can always tell, like, how I'm showing up differently, or, just anything, because I have a coach. That accountability of making sure that I'm getting my stuff done and getting me out of my own mind, even though I read the books and even though I do the trainings, sometimes it's nice just to have that coach on your side to be like, but you can do the thing. Or, well, let's talk a little more about why you're not doing the thing that you say you want to do. That, like, that difference between what we say we want and how we're actually showing up. A coach can be really nice in pulling that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I would always, uh, if anybody is listening and you are thinking about your business, see, one thing is business always needs an investment, and it's always growing, right? You need to keep growing with your business, otherwise you are going to get stuck and stay stale at where you are.
Yeah.
So it's always a growth, um, a point of growth, right? So coaching can help you with that. And also, I mean, some people learn different in different ways, right? Some people do courses and they're like self-motivated and do the stuff and they finish it. Some people don't. I mean, lazy people like me. I mean, they need
Me too, girl.
so yeah, it can work, like different, if you have a coaching and you have courses and you listen to podcasts or YouTube, it's all different kinds of learning, right? But if you combine things that work together, then that's when you grow.
I love that. So good. Okay, question specifically about Etsy photography, or I guess, like you mentioned earlier, it could be any sort of photograph for products. But so, what are some things that maybe you commonly see that are mistakes that people are making? That's like a kind of an easy fix, that we can go back through and look at pictures of our own and be like, "Ooh, I need to tweak this one," or something like that. Like, just a couple basics.
um, for photography especially, so I'll talk about product photography first. So product photography is a specific kind of photography, right? It's where you're trying to showcase the product. So the difference between product photo and a still life photo is that in product photography there's a hero, which is the product. So it's all about the products. So you are showcasing the product, and everything is secondary. So especially for Etsy, if you are there are two types of photos. One is a main listing photo, where that is what people see when they search. That is one thing, and there are 10 slots where you can fill, you can add more photos. So the main listing photo is the most important thing, because that's where people search. That's what people see when they search, right? So that should be the most eye-catching. So the main this is a tweak that I teach in my group, that one of the easiest things you can do with your photos is try to make it not blend in with others. Like if you're searching for a search term, say something like I want a baby hat or whatever. Okay, so I search for baby hats and say yellow baby hat, something like that. So you get like thousands of results, right? With whoever has tagged it with that search term, it will all come up. But how do you select between these photos? It's with I mean, people are looking at the photos and deciding which one to click, right? So it's the photos which decide where people click. And the easiest way to stand out is make the photo different. So that's like, it could be in different ways. It could be a different background color or a different style of photo, or something different, so that your eyes directly go to that different thing, because your eyes see the contrast easily. So that's how your vision works. So if there is if you search for something and everything is with a white background, but there is one photo with a red background, so for example, so your eye is directly going to see that red thing, right? And at that point, if your photo is of good quality, people are going to click it, that's for sure. So you are beating all your competition in that page, because your photo is different. So try to make it different. So one thing I always suggest is do your competition research before you think of what to create for as a new product. And also for the photos, see how people are doing photography for that particular thing, and you can model on them, but make it slightly different, maybe the background color or the style of it. Like if everybody is photographing it upright, do a flat lay, so that looks different. So that's where your eye goes. And when they see, okay, that's something different, and if that photo is good, they're going to click on it and they're going to buy it. I mean, they might buy it. Okay, there's a chance of them, there's a more chance of them buying it, rather, if you do that. So another thing is, a good quality photo equals good quality product. That's what happens in e-commerce, because you can only see the product, right? You cannot feel it, or feel the texture, or you cannot pick it up in your hands or anything. So the only way you can showcase is using your photos. So if you this is something that happens subconsciously, that if we see a bad quality photo, even if the product is good, we are going to think, oh no, that's not that good. You can't pinpoint what is bad with that, but that's what happens. We automatically think that, oh, that it's not of good quality, and so you are going to move on. About mistakes that I see, um, there are multiple things, but one thing that it's a pet peeve of mine is like when you style product photos, um, try to minimize the number of props around the main thing, because I see people try to styling is a totally different field. It's a special thing that you need to learn separately. I mean, some people can get it easily, but many people struggle with styling. So one thing I see which is bad is like people keep so many different things around this main object, and when somebody sees it, it looks like, I mean, what am I looking at? There are so many things. Their focus doesn't go directly to the hero product. And if it doesn't, then the point is lost. So what I advise is always try to minimize the number of props, like one or two. Start with one or two and then build up from that. Once you're confident with the styling, then you can add more. But always try to reduce it. And another one is like clutter in the background. I see it. I mean, I don't know why people do that. At least because that shows the user that you haven't put an effort into this, right? So that is totally unprofessional. I mean, it might have worked like 5 years back when there are very little number of shops on Etsy, but now there are so many shops and there's so much competition. You need to stand out, and one way of standing out is having good quality product photos. So as I said, good quality photo equals good quality product in the client's mind. So you need to cater to that. So always watch out for the background. So at least put some effort and find a background that is uniform. If it's a plain background, that's perfect. But even if you are doing a lifestyle kind of thing, try to remove the clutter and try to isolate the object, in the photo, so that your eye directly goes to the hero, which is a product. Okay, yeah.
That makes a ton of sense. I never would have thought about doing that research first and seeing how other people took their pictures for those, because that's like genius. Because I know as you were talking, I'm thinking about, some of the last things that I've bought on Etsy and how I was scrolling through, and same thing. I'm sure I probably didn't even get maybe even the highest quality thing that I was looking for, but it was like the image immediately, if they had a nice clean background and it stuck out, or it was a different color or less cluttered. I'm like, oop, yep, yep, yep. And so we do that without even without even thinking it and without even realizing it. So that's so genius. Anyone out there who is listing things on a website, whether it's Etsy, or you can really use that for anything, any e-commerce site that you are selling products for. And some of that too, I feel like, is just good business etiquette. Like when you're doing a Facebook Live, maybe don't do it in the room with, all the clutter behind you if you can help from it, or at least clean it up. No, that's not Rubeena. I do not think that's clutter. She's pointing behind her. There's like a TV. I mean, I'm talking like my computer is strategically this way. If I turned it the other way, like I've got like my collagens, like I got all my stuff here. You know what I mean? But no one's got to know that. So we don't have to show people, all the behind the scenes, especially when we're showing it professionally. Because we just have a split second to get people's attention. And I think that's definitely what's that good photography can do for you, for sure. Okay, so I don't want this to go too long because I know it's so late there, and you've given so many good tips. So before we head off here, let's share, if you would, maybe just like one piece of inspiration for the woman who's listening to this and wants to get started, or maybe is just feeling really overwhelmed with like the photography piece. What would you tell her? And then tell us again how everyone can find you. And guys, I'll put all these links in the show notes as well, so you can just click on it and connect with Rubeena and find her on Facebook and her group as well. But so one piece of advice, and where can we find you? Oh, okay. We muted each other.
Yeah, so my this advice is for any kind of photography, but especially if you're struggling with product photography, how you can improve your photography is practice, practice, practice. This is the very old advice, but it works all the time. So the more time you spend practicing, I mean, always try to learn the basics. Don't just repeat something wrong or something you don't know. Try to get the basics right, and then practice with different lighting, practice with different settings. So when you do it 10 times, 10 times better than that you did the first time, right? So the more you practice, the better you get at it. And people think photography is really difficult to master. I mean, you don't need to be a master photographer to get a decent product photo. You just need to learn the basics and, you know, you don't even need to get a lot of equipment. You can use minimal equipment and you can use your smartphone. That's one thing I see. A lot of people think that they need a DSLR or high-end camera to get good product photos. But today, if you take any smartphone, even from last 5 years, it can do 90% of the things that DSLR can do. Obviously, the quality is a bit less, but again, you're not going to make a big print out of it, right? So it's only for the web. So the pixel quality doesn't matter. It still looks good. So you can do most of the things with your smartphone. So that's one thing. And obviously practice. And if you can get somebody to help you. This is one thing I struggled with when I started, because I didn't have anybody who could help me because I had so many questions on how to use different settings, what to do with it, so many things that I had to figure out myself, and it took so much time. That time I had really hope, I had really hoped for somebody to help me through, somebody could just tell me how this works or something like that. So if you're totally stuck, find somebody either on YouTube or a podcast or somewhere, or if it's specifically for product photography, you can always come to my group. Um, so find somebody who can guide you. So as I said, it will cut down your effort and your time massively. Then you can do your own practice and improve. Yeah, that's my advice. And yeah, and you.
Practice makes
So
perfect.
yeah, it's really true. If you try for say 1 month, really focused and try to improve your photography, it will definitely improve. With whatever you have right now, you don't need anything more. All right, maybe you could use some guidance. Yeah. And
Like we have all the basics, and that's so good. I'm so glad you brought that up because I did mean to ask that. Yeah, equipment, camera, good lighting, and then someone to help you figure out all the pieces when you have those questions can definitely get you to where you want to go. I love that so much. All right.
yeah.
Where can everyone connect with you and find you over on Facebook and any other place?
Yeah, my main platform is, as I said, Facebook group. So it's called Etsy. Sorry, product photography for Etsy sellers. So if you search for it, you'll get the group. So you can join in, and I do weekly lives. So you get a lot of value out of it. And I, as I said, I might do some YouTube videos in coming months. So if you can, if you want to subscribe to my channel, I have a channel which doesn't have any. I think there's one video. So if you want to subscribe, you can do it. I might do. I'm going to do some videos, but I can't say when. Probably next couple of months. And I'm also going to planning to launch a course in next couple of months. So I will give all the details in the group. So that's one thing I'm working on. So as I said, I'm a perfectionist, so
Yes.
it keeps moving, but I'm sure it will happen in near future. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So, guys, basically, you need to get in her group so that you can get updated on the course. You can get updated on the YouTube channel as well. No pressure on that. It was just a thought that I had when I'm like, ooh, you know what? With the Facebook reach going down, YouTube definitely is a place where you can, put some of your stuff. So, I'm super excited to see how you keep serving women and empowering them and educating them. I think that's just such a mission, and that's what we're all about here too. And I absolutely love that. So thank you so much, Rubeena, for sharing everything with us today. We really appreciate it. And guys, go find her on Facebook.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. It was a pleasure talking to
Yeah,
you.
and welcome to, or you survived your first podcast interview.
It was fun. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, girl. Have a great night. Thank you so much, guys.